Hey guys, Sam here from Landscape Plus. I am with Paul and Tori and we are going to have a quick chat about FutureScape this year. So guys, start at the beginning. How was build of FutureScape, the painful bit?
Yeah, that's a good one. The build went very well. Obviously, trying to get into the Excel is always a bit of a nightmare with the queuing. I think everybody accepts that. We put it in part of our agenda to do.
Nature of the beast.
It is, unfortunately.
Didn't quite plan for that long, but there we go.
Didn't quite plan for the length of time, but again, it is in our schedule that we're going to have to do a bit of waiting around, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, apart from that, the build went absolutely superbly. So we got everything ready. The Sunday, we got most of the stand up, and then obviously on the Monday, we went and just redressed it and make sure it all looks good. So yeah, very good.
I always find it insane how quickly you go into this hall that's like bare and really just uninspiring and quite miserable. And then you go back in on Monday and it's like all this stuff has happened, and then by Monday night it was just like it's transformed, and it's in this space that just brings everybody. It's crazy the amount of work that goes into them.
I think everybody just knows what they're doing, don't they? Even down to the carpet fitters on Monday night. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely a few people wandering around like lost souls.
But that's why we left you at home again. Yeah.
So Tori, tell us, obviously we've done FutureScape the last couple of years, you've been there with us.
Yeah.
What changed on the stands this year?
So this year we chose to have some new products. So we saw it as a fantastic opportunity to showcase our newest range, so our Core 10 water features. And then obviously showed off some of our new, well not new, but existing lighting systems and everything like that. I think it was a fantastic addition because it encouraged people to stop and look, and was really eye-catching and looked really
water
smart.
looked wicked as well. I think that was a really nice addition.
I think having the water just moving, it makes a difference, to be honest. I think also the lighting around it just sort of brought it. The lighting also shone up on some of our
I had a
boards.
couple of people also who mentioned the sound of the water feature,
Yeah.
which I hadn't actually stood still long enough to listen to
Calming
it.
part of
But
a
yeah,
very
it was actually
hectic environment.
it was then really nice. It's sort of like if there was nobody around talking, people just stood there.
So relaxing.
Yeah.
So maybe we should set
Obviously
that
there
off.
was always people around talking on our stand.
I'll be honest with you, yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I think we were very busy compared to, we sort of said, if anyone's standing around doing, but I looked around all the time, and, whenever I sort of went from one customer to another, all the staff were sort of generally talking to people.
Really
So
I think
really
suppliers around us had mentioned at the end of the day, it was like, how busy we'd been in comparison to other stands, or maybe them themselves as well. So I think our stand was just, somebody said it was like having a giant LSP hug, because when you were in the middle of it, it was sort of just like you were there in your own little bubble, own little bubble, and there was nothing too harsh about it. So.
I think it's just been designed relaxing, as opposed, inviting in as well.
That's what we always aim for, isn't it? Is have an inviting sort of stand that isn't too closed off. I think when stands make you feel claustrophobic, it's the worst.
And like there's no way out.
Yeah, exactly. You're trapped by a salesman.
Yeah.
The new products you spoke about, Tori, how were they received by customers you spoke to?
Really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they loved them, and I think it was amazing for us to be able to show, from a lighting point of view, the quality of the fixtures, the effects that they give. I mean, I know obviously we were in Excel, indoor, so but you could still see them, and like with the planting, it helps show the effects, and the Core 10 water features. Yeah, I think very much.
Cool.
Yeah, they looked cool. There was a lot of interest. I think it's very much in.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
definitely. I can see those going really well.
Where we were sighted, actually, you can see it where you actually come from one angle. It is just people you're drawn to it basically, and I think it worked better than what we sort of planned on paper. I think it was just seemed to be just right. So.
And question for both of you, what would be your key takeaway? So what was it when you left, packed down, driving home at an ungodly hour? What was the one thing that really stuck with you from the show?
Coffee. having a little bit of coffee every now and then.
Slightly shaking.
But joking aside, I think honestly, I'll go back to it, that everybody just interacted with all our staff, and our staff sort of getting sort of known is quite important. I think over the years as a company's grown, it's always been myself or you, and been sort of the focus, and people want to talk. But now it's actually all the staff, and I think that's important as a company grows. So,
the talk you guys did on the Wednesday, the lighting talk, there was a real buzz. Everybody, a lot of people then came to the stand afterwards to say, oh, I've just heard, Sam and Paul talk, but I nipped over and saw, and it was every seat was full. There was people standing around the outside, and that was one of the highlights for me. That was
we got great. Big families.
We were paying people to be there. I think for me personally, we've made a real effort as a company this year, looking at new relationships and building relationships with different contractors that we may not have worked with before, different designers we may not have worked with. I think the amount of people that came over and made a point of saying hello to one of the team that has only started working with us this year was really, really nice to see. Yeah.
I also from the other end, a supplier perspective, it was nice having those, especially from Meet the Supplier at the Glass House, having those familiar faces. I felt like there was definitely a bit more of that going on this year, which was again really nice, just affirming those relationships.
There was a lot of people there actually we didn't see, although there are customers. I mean, another member of staff might have spoke to them, so obviously you do need to sometimes have more staff there to make sure you catch as many as you can, really, which is what the event's about.
Definitely.
I know a few customers messaged us afterwards to say that they had planned to come back and see us, but I think where it's so big now, I think people who hadn't maybe cottoned onto that didn't realise that it was going to take them a bit longer to get round, and so I think it'd be interesting to see what it's like next year.
Yeah.
And perfect segue, talking of next year, any plans for next year? Anything you might do differently? What's your thoughts?
It's very hard because I felt as though our stand was just right, to be honest. You could possibly have something more at one end we used like a design studio, so which is what we want to do, design support, and then have products the other end. I felt as though a lot of the attention was around the lights. It's easy to do, but in water feature, which is understandable, but so possibly do that. But I don't think at the moment there's much more we could do. I mean, we also had our lights on, Garden of the Future. We also had there's an electrician there who had some of our lights on his stand. We're part of the HiFi learning group, so obviously part of that as well. So we're in other places as well. So I think I don't know what, we will do something else, obviously, as we tend to change things about. But from a stand point of view, we were actually quite happy with the way it all went, to be honest. So. Possibly.
If anyone's got any ideas of what
any suggestions would be nice, but obviously, it's got to be, as long as the stand's open, welcoming, and our staff are interacting, and it's visually a nice stand. I think that's what we want. I think that's what we achieved.
Yeah, definitely. And just quickly before we wrap up the talks Tori mentioned there, Paul, just your view on the talk that you were involved with, how well it was received, what you thought of that in general?
Yeah, it's always a hard one, isn't it? Because when you do a talk, even when we did go around the country doing our events and talks and all that, you just want everybody to take a lot from it. So hopefully, it got good reviews. Obviously, people grabbed us off as soon as we got off the stage and asking us questions. And like you say, a lot of people went back to the stand as well, didn't they? So hopefully it all went well. Like I say, if people are asking questions and they want to come and talk to you, generally it is, but I think it gets across where we just want to educate and hopefully support the industry. So hopefully it went well. Well, that's from my side, Sam. I don't know how you got on.
I think it was okay. It was I was involved in one on both days. The first one was on a panel, and actually, without inflating your ego too much, I feel so much more comfortable. I don't know how many talks we've done together now.
We've done
one or two,
quite a few,
but so much more comfortable. We actually had it as quite relaxed, sat down, and
I think it should be. I think I mean, if you're doing a talk, if you're tense in you're a bit worried about it. It doesn't bring across your character and your knowledge as well.
I think everybody else then feels a bit more uptight and maybe less likely to get involved. I think people ask questions at the end of yours, which is always a
it's either a good sign or a really bad sign.
See if we're booked next year.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time, guys. Hopefully that has explained a little bit about FutureScape this year. Check out more of our videos online.